And thanks for staying with TVC News. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has sent an open letter to President Muhammadu Buhari, urging him to urgently instruct the Director General and Board of the National Pension Commission to stop governors from borrowing 17 trillion naira from the pension funds. According to the group, it will be detrimental to the interest of the beneficiaries of the funds. And joining me in the studio to discuss this is an insurance analyst, Babatunde Raimi. Good to have you join us, Babatunde. Now, talk to us about the implication of this move by the governors looking to borrow 17 trillion naira, also the CBN as well, looking to borrow 17 trillion naira from the National Pension Commission. And let's look at that in light of the Pension Reform Act.
Thank you very much. First, I don't think you can borrow from the funds. You can't borrow from the fund because if you look at it, this is the Pension Reform Act. And I brought it so that I can read to you from the Pension Reform Act. Section 85 of the Pension Reform Act, subsection 1 says, all contributions made under this act shall be invested. So you can't borrow from the funds. If I, as an RSA account holder, cannot borrow from my money, why will let any other person borrow from the money? You can't borrow from it. If maybe it's the use of English or something. If they say,
the word investment there seems to be quite vague. If the money, because the governors are saying, look, they're also looking to invest this money. I want to take a statement from the chairman of the Governors Forum, Kayode Femi, who said that the money is being accessed by other entities anyway. The other entities were also borrowing this money. So why can't the Governors Forum also benefit from that? Looking at it from a legal framework, if you go to Section 86, where you can invest the money you get from there is clearly stated there. Let me read to you. It said, subject to guidelines issued by the Commission, pension fund and assets shall be invested in any of the following. It's stated there. Now I want to ask, not all the states in Nigeria have adopted the contributory pension scheme. Even some that have adopted it, some of them don't pay, they don't remit into the RSA account holder as at when due. Aside that, how do you now say you want to borrow from it when, as I speak with you, some states are owing 3 years arrears? Last week, my father died without receiving his pension. So last week, I was privileged to have two retirees who died, their next of kin. They died, one died in active service, another one died, and close to 3 years, she has not had access to her funds. So if you are borrowing, what will be the future of those that have not even retired? So I don't think that you can borrow from, you can take from it and invest. And while you're investing, I'm sure that, I must say that PENCOM is very well regulated. It has to be within the confines of the investment that PENCOM has regulated. So because there's a meeting today, which is the APC meeting, quite all right, but we know that some governors are going to be present at that meeting. We're also looking to see how the president is reacting to this. The director of this of PENCOM is answerable to him. But if the governors decide to go ahead with this move, they decide to go ahead with this loan, and it is approved, what rights then, what happens from there? Because again, people are saying they don't trust what they're going to do with the funds. Maybe it's the issue of trust deficit.
If it is finally approved, it will be an aberration to PENCOM, and it will be inimical to the future of retirees and subject their life to the hazards of life. That is when they have trade unions. You have the NUP, National Union of Pensioners, you have the TUC, you have the NLC. Let them come out and add their voice. You can't borrow from this money. For instance, the ones that they have been borrowing from IMF and China and other countries, have they been accountable? Has they been transparent? Are they probable? So we have to look at all these things.
What about the pension administrators? Do they have any say here?
These pension administrators are stakeholders. And you'll be glad to know that even these funds are not with the pension administrators. The funds are with pension fund custodians. PENCOM put all these things in place to ensure that nobody can just come tomorrow to come and say, we want to borrow. If you say you want to invest, it's okay. I like the word investment as long as it is secured and there is no more risk attached to it so that when people retire. Remember, I told you at the beginning, 3 years, you have not received your pension. For federal workers, for instance, as I speak with you, people retired January to date. They have not had their retirement benefits. And as I speak to you, they don't even know they are going to spend Christmas. Is that how it is supposed to be?
So this brings us to the issue of transparency within that pension fund, because like you said, some people, even in the private sector, some people don't get their pensions as it went due. Some people say, look, we don't even know what's going on with our pension. So what can be done to ensure transparency in that area?
In the private sector, I know that if you retire in the private sector, talking about private companies, 1 month, 2 months, you have access to your benefits. I told you about states, 3 years. Some of them have not accessed. I don't want to mention states. Federal governments, since January to date, some people have not accessed their pension, and these people cannot even meet their basic needs. So it's not, I don't see it flying. I don't see it flying at all. Because NUP have reacted, SERAP have reacted, NLC has reacted. I'm expecting other people to react also. We need to speak up because as I speak with you now, people are dying. I will contribute money, and by the time I want to access it, you'll be telling me so. It's not so. When this thing started, 1 month after, you could access your pension. 3 months after, you could access your pension. And now, you cannot access your pension. Now, everybody has to speak because one way or the other, one day, either by retrenchment, retirement, or resignation, you'll be out of service. So it concerns everybody.
Babatunde Raimi, insurance analyst, thanks for talking to us. We'll continue to monitor how this plays out. Thanks for talking to us.